Welcome back to Tell Me More Stories Told Us podcast, where we like to really dig into the stories behind everyday things.
Absolutely.
And today we're talking about something that you probably use every morning, but haven't given a whole lot of thought to.
Right.
The toaster?
The toaster, yeah,
Like,
it's amazing how this simple appliance,
Yeah.
most of us, don't even think twice about usable,
right.
but it has a history spanning centuries, really.
I know. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, before electricity,
Right.
how did people even make toast?
Yeah, well, you have to imagine going way back, like, to the 16th century.
Okay.
And instead of plugging in your toaster, you would be holding a long-handled fork over an open fire,
Oh, wow.
carefully browning your bread.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how they did it for centuries.
Wow.
It really makes you realize how important that hearth fire was
Yeah.
to daily life.
Yeah, it wasn't just for warmth and cooking. It was like
Right.
this whole ritual of making toast.
It was a ritual, exactly. And even when the first electric toasters emerged in the late 19th century,
Okay.
they were still very different from what we have today.
Right.
The Eclipse toaster from 1893, for example,
Okay.
could only toast one side of the bread at the time.
Oh, so you'd be standing there flipping it over and over,
Yeah.
just like over a fire?
Pretty much, yeah, you got it.
Okay.
But, a big challenge back then was creating a heating element
Uh-huh.
that could withstand those high temperatures
Right.
without breaking down.
Oh, I bet that was a problem for like light bulb inventors too.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, think about Thomas Edison and his team working tirelessly on the light bulb.
Yeah.
They needed a filament that could handle intense heat
Right.
without burning out.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, the solution to that problem would revolutionize not just light bulbs,
Okay.
but toasters as well.
Interesting. Okay, so who figured out the secret to a long-lasting heating element?
Yeah, so the breakthrough came in 1905,
Okay.
thanks to an engineer named Albert Marsh.
Okay.
He developed this special alloy of nickel and chromium
Okay.
that we now know as nichrome wire.
Okay.
And this wire
Yeah.
could withstand incredibly high temperatures without breaking down or becoming brittle.
So it was the key to both a good light bulb and a good toaster.
Precisely.
Wow.
And the impact of nichrome wire went far beyond toasters and light bulbs.
Really?
I mean, think about ovens, hair dryers, industrial furnaces.
Oh, wow.
All sorts of technologies that relied on heat benefited from this innovation.
It's amazing how like one invention can have this ripple effect
It is.
across so many different fields.
Yeah, and it really highlights how interconnected things are.
Mm-hmm.
How progress in one area can unlock possibilities in others.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But let's get back to the toaster's journey.
Okay. Yeah.
So, with this reliable heating element in place,
Yeah.
things really started to take off in the early 20th century.
Okay, but I bet those early electric toasters
Yeah.
were still pretty basic compared to what we have today.
You're right. They were still a far cry from the pop-up toasters we're used to.
Right.
In 1909, General Electric introduced the D12,
Okay.
the first commercially successful electric toaster.
Wow.
But it could still only toast one side at a time, and you had to manually flip the bread.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine?
I would burn it every time.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So how did we get from those one-sided toasters to the automatic pop-up marvels we have today?
Yeah, how did that happen?
Well, it was a series of small steps,
Okay.
each building upon the last.
Yeah.
And a pivotal moment came in 1913
Okay.
when Lloyd Graf Koopman and his wife Hazel Berger Koopman patented a toaster with an automatic bread turner.
Oh, okay, so no more flipping.
No more flipping.
Okay, that's good.
That's definitely a step in the right direction.
Right, but what about the pop-up feature?
Yes.
That's what makes a toaster a toaster.
You're right. The pop-up feature is iconic.
Right.
And it all started with a man named Charles Strite.
Okay.
Back in 1919, he was working at a factory and got frustrated with the burnt toast from the cafeteria's toasters.
So relatable.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So what did he do?
What?
He invented the first automatic pop-up toaster,
Wow, what a hero.
and he patented it in 1921.
That's amazing.
It's like the classic inventor story,
Yeah.
sees a problem, comes up with a brilliant solution.
Yeah, did it catch on right away?
It took a few years.
Okay.
But in 1925, the Waters Genter Company launched the Model 1A1 Toastmaster,
Okay.
which could brown bread on both sides, had a timer, and ejected the toast when it was done.
Oh, wow.
All thanks to Strite's invention.
Wow, so that was like the iPhone of toasters?
You could say that.
It changed everything.
It was a huge hit.
Wow.
And it really set the stage for the modern toasters we know and love today.
That's so cool.
Before we dive into all those modern features, though,
Okay.
I just want to remind everyone to hit that subscribe button
Yes.
so you don't miss any of our fascinating deep dives.
Yes, definitely subscribe so you don't miss out.
Here on Tell Me More,
Now,
we've got lots more to explore in the world of toasters, so stay tuned.
I know there's a whole world of toaster variations out there.
Yes.
Like toaster ovens,
Right.
conveyor belt toasters in restaurants.
Uh-huh.
What can you tell us about those?
Yeah, those are great examples of how toasters have evolved to meet different needs.
Okay.
The toaster oven, for instance, was actually invented way back in 1910,
Oh, wow.
just a few years after the first electric toasters.
Okay.
It's basically a mini oven that can also toast,
Right.
offering a lot more versatility.
I love toaster ovens.
Me too.
They're so convenient.
Yeah, especially for smaller kitchens.
What about those conveyor belt toasters? They seem
Yeah.
like something out of a factory.
They are designed for high-volume toasting,
Yeah.
perfect for places like restaurants and cafeterias
Right.
that need to make a lot of toast quickly.
Yeah.
Instead of slots, they have a moving belt
Okay.
that carries the bread through a heated chamber, toasting it at a rapid pace.
I could picture like that golden brown cascade of bread
I
coming
know.
out of the mistake.
Makes you hungry.
I am getting hungry.
But,
Yeah, let's get back to the pock-up toaster.
okay.
What about all those fancy features we see today?
Yeah.
Like one-sided toasting for bagels,
Mm-hmm.
extra wide slots.
Right, those features are all about convenience and customization.
Right.
Think about it, one-sided toasting is perfect for bagels
Yeah.
or thicker slices of bread that might burn on the outside
Yeah.
before the inside is done.
Right.
And extra wide slots can accommodate different types of bread,
Right.
from skinny slices to artisan loaves.
Makes sense.
It's all about giving you options.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the reheat and defrost settings.
Oh, yes.
No more gnawing on rock-hard toast.
I know, trying to defrost bread in the microwave.
It's the worst.
Right.
Toasters are like these little kitchen assistants now,
They are.
anticipating our needs,
I know.
making our lives a little easier.
I know. Making our lives a little easier, exactly.
Who could forget about those automatic lowering and raising mechanisms?
Right.
No more lever to push down.
I know.
Just drop the bread in and watch it go.
It's all about making the process as effortless as possible.
Right.
But you know what's really fascinating? Even with all these modern conveniences, the innovation hasn't stopped.
Really?
There are toasters
Yeah.
that can connect to the internet, print weather forecasts on your bread, and even toast your bread to a specific shade of brown based on your preferences.
Wait a minute. Internet-connected toasters. That just
Yeah.
blew my mind.
I know, right?
But it also makes me wonder, like, what's next?
Right.
Have we reached peak toast technology?
That's a great question.
Or is there still more?
It is, and it's one we'll explore further in the next part of our deep dive into
Okay.
toasters.
I can't wait. This is turning out to be a much more exciting journey than I imagined.
I know, right?
Who knew toasters had such a rich history?
It just goes to show that there's always more to discover, even in the most everyday things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is remarkable when you think about it.
It's like you're looking at this ordinary object
Right.
through a magnifying glass, and suddenly you see
Yeah.
like this whole universe of complexity and
Absolutely, yeah.
innovation you never even noticed before.
Yeah. And speaking of innovation, let's talk about the future of toasting.
Okay.
Where do we go from here? What's next for the humble toaster?
Well, we already have toasters that connect to the internet
Right.
and print weather forecasts on our bread.
I know.
Like, it's hard to imagine what they'll come up with next.
Yeah, the bar has been set pretty high, but I think there's still plenty of room for innovation.
Okay.
Imagine, for instance, a toaster that could scan the nutritional content of your bread
Oh, wow.
and adjust the toasting time and temperature accordingly.
So, like, it could make healthy bread taste as good as the less healthy stuff.
Right, exactly. It could help bridge that gap between taste and nutrition.
Right.
Make healthy eating even more appealing.
I like it. Sign me up for that.
Or what about a toaster that uses artificial intelligence to learn your individual toasting preferences?
So remember how you like your toast.
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
And adjust automatically. It's like having a personal toast chef.
Yeah, that would be great.
It could even recognize different types of bread
Okay.
and adjust the settings based on its thickness and moisture content, ensuring a perfect result every time.
No more burnt toast or uneven browning.
Exactly.
That would be amazing.
I know. And as smart homes become more common,
Uh-huh.
we could see toasters that integrate seamlessly with other appliances.
Okay, now you're speaking my language.
Right.
My alarm goes off, my coffee starts brewing.
Yes.
And my smart toaster is already preheating and toasting my bread.
It sounds idyllic, doesn't it?
Yeah, talk about starting the day off right.
And who knows, maybe we'll even see toasters that can print images or messages on the bread.
Now that would be fun.
I know.
Toast-shaped love notes to your family.
Yes.
Or surprise your kids with a toasty masterpiece.
It opens up a whole new world of breakfast creativity.
It does, but on a more serious note,
Yes.
do you think all of these futuristic toasters
Yeah.
will be accessible to everyone, or will they just be expensive gadgets for tech enthusiasts?
That's a really important question.
It is, yeah.
It would be a shame if these innovations only benefited a select few.
Right. So what do you think needs to happen?
Well, as with any new technology, there will likely be early adoption phases where prices are higher.
Okay.
But as production scales up and competition increases,
Yeah.
we can hope to see these features become more affordable and widespread.
That makes sense. It's like how flat-screen TVs were once a luxury item,
Right.
and now they're in pretty much every household.
Exactly. And just as flat screen TVs transform the way we watch television,
Hmm.
I think these advanced toasters have the potential to change the way we think about
Yeah.
and experience breakfast.
It is pretty amazing to think about how far we've come from toasting bread over an open fire.
It's a testament to human ingenuity, isn't it?
Yeah.
We see a problem, even a small one like burnt toast,
Right.
and our brains start turning, trying to find a better way.
And sometimes those solutions end up revolutionizing entire industries.
Exactly.
But before we get too carried away talking about the future,
Yes.
let's take a quick detour and explore a unique variation of the toaster that exists right now,
Okay.
the hot dog toaster.
Oh, yes, the hot dog toaster.
Yeah.
A specialized appliance designed to perfectly cook your hot dogs and toast your buns simultaneously.
I have to admit, I'm intrigued. Is it really as good as it sounds?
Well, as with any appliance, there are pros and cons.
Okay.
But for hot dog enthusiasts, it can be a fun and convenient way to enjoy a classic snack.
I can see the appeal, especially for those late-night cravings.
Exactly.
When you don't want to fire up the grill or wait for the oven to preheat.
It's all about finding the right tool for the job.
Right.
And speaking of finding the right tool, I have a question for you. Are you a light and crispy toast person, or do you prefer it dark and crunchy?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I know.
I'm definitely a fan of a good crunch, but I also don't want my toast burnt to a crisp.
Right.
So I guess you could say I like it somewhere between golden brown with a satisfying crunch. What about you?
I lean towards a golden brown toast with just a hint of crunch as well.
Okay.
But I find it fascinating how subjective the perfect toast is.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own ideal level of browning, their preferred texture,
Right.
even their go-to toppings. It's a testament to the personal connection we have with this seemingly simple food.
That's so true. And I think that's what makes this whole deep dive so interesting.
Right.
We're uncovering the history, the technology,
Yeah.
even the cultural significance of something that most of us probably never thought twice about.
It just goes to show that there's always more to learn, even about the most everyday objects.
Right.
And sometimes the most ordinary things can have the most extraordinary stories.
That's true, but let's not stop there. I think we got just enough time to explore one more
Right.
fascinating facet of the toaster's journey.
Okay, I'm all ears. What else have you got up your sleeve?
Well, let's talk about how the toaster became an icon.
Okay.
It's not just an appliance.
Right.
It's a symbol of modern life,
Yeah.
of breakfast, of home.
Right.
You see it in movies and TV shows and cartoons.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. I never really thought about it that way before.
I know, it's true.
But the toaster is like this ubiquitous symbol of domesticity.
Exactly. And I think part of its appeal is its simplicity.
Yeah.
It's a relatively straightforward appliance with a clear purpose
Yeah.
to make toast. But within that simplicity, there's a world of possibilities.
Yeah, you can toast bread bagels with muffins.
Right.
You can use it to reheat pastries or make grilled cheese sandwiches.
You
It's
can.
like this blank canvas for breakfast creativity.
I love that analogy, the toaster as a blank canvas. It's so true.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people have such a fondness for it. It's not just a machine, it's a tool for self-expression.
Mhm.
You can customize your toast to your liking. You can experiment with different toppings.
Right.
You can even use it to create edible art.
I've seen some pretty impressive toast art online.
Right. It's amazing what people can do with a little imagination in a toaster.
It is, but I think even beyond its practical uses and its symbolic significance,
Yeah,
the toaster has a certain nostalgic charm.
it does.
It reminds us of childhood breakfasts, of lazy Sunday mornings,
Uh-huh.
of the simple pleasures in life.
It's funny how an object as simple as a toaster can evoke so many memories and emotions.
I know, it really is.
It speaks to the power of everyday objects to connect us to our past,
Yeah,
to our families, to our sense of self, and I think that's something worth celebrating.
absolutely. So the next time you pop a piece of bread into your toaster,
Yes.
take a moment to appreciate not just the crispy golden brown goodness it produces,
Right.
but also the rich history, the technological innovation,
Yeah.
and the cultural significance that went into creating this seemingly humble appliance.
Well said. And speaking of appreciating the toaster, stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore some fun facts and trivia about this amazing appliance. You might be surprised by what you learn.
Welcome back to Tell Me More Stories Told This podcast. We're wrapping up our deep dive into the fascinating world of toasters.
Yeah.
I have to say I'm a little sad to see this toasty journey come to an end.
I know what you mean. It's been a delightful exploration.
Yeah.
But we've still got some fun facts and trivia to share, so
Okay.
let's end on a high note.
Perfect. I'm always up for some good trivia. What do you got for us?
Well, did you know that the first automatic pop-up toaster, the one invented by Charles Straight,
Uh-huh.
was actually designed for restaurants, not homes?
Really? I would have thought it was the other way around.
It's true. Stright's original goal was they create a toaster that could consistently produce perfectly toasted bread for restaurant patrons. It wasn't until later that the pop-up toaster made its way into homes and became a kitchen staple.
That's fascinating. Makes you wonder how many other inventions were originally intended for one purpose,
Right.
but ended up finding their true calling somewhere else entirely?
It happens all the time. Innovation is often a winding road with unexpected twists and turns.
Yeah.
But speaking of unexpected twists,
Okay.
here's another fun fact. Did you know that in the early days of electric toasters,
Uh-huh.
some people were actually afraid of them?
Afraid of toasters. Why on earth would anyone be afraid of a toaster?
Well, electricity was still a relatively new technology back then.
Oh, right.
And people were wary of its potential dangers.
Okay.
There were even rumors that toasters could electrocute people or start fires.
Wow, I guess it's easy to forget how revolutionary electricity was at the time.
It was.
It must have seemed like magic, and with any new magic, there's always a bit of fear
Right.
mixed in with a wonder.
Exactly. But as people became more familiar with electricity and toasters became safer and more reliable, those fears subsided, and now it's hard to imagine a kitchen without one.
Speaking of kitchens, here's a trivia question for you.
Okay.
What do you think is the most popular toaster color?
That's a good one. I'm going to guess stainless steel.
Okay?
It seems to be the go-to finish for most modern appliances.
You're absolutely right. Stainless steel is the most popular toaster color, followed by black and white.
Oh, wow.
But back in the day, there were some pretty wild toaster colors and designs.
Oh, yes. Those retro toasters were something else.
Yeah.
Avocado, green harvest gold, burnt orange, you name it.
Right.
There was probably a toaster in that color.
I've seen some of those vintage toasters in antique shops.
Yeah,
They're definitely eye-catching.
they are.
It makes you wonder if you ever see a resurgence of those bold colors and designs in modern toasters.
Perhaps trends have a way of circling back around.
True.
But for now, it seems like sleek and minimalist is the reigning aesthetic in kitchen appliances.
Well, whether they're sleek and modern or retro and colorful toasters have certainly earned their place in our kitchens and our hearts.
They have indeed. And as we've seen throughout this deep dive, they're much more than just simple appliances.
Right.
They're symbols of innovation, ingenuity, and the enduring human desire for a perfectly toasted slice of bread.
And on that note, I think it's time to raise a toast to the toaster.
I agree.
An unsung hero of the kitchen, a master of browning, and a constant companion to breakfast tables around the world.
Here, here. May our toasts always be perfectly golden, crispy, and exactly the way we like them.
Absolutely. But before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
We've seen how far toasters have come from simple fireside contractions to internet-connected marvels.
Right.
But the journey doesn't end there, so I want to ask you, dear listener, what do you think the future of toasting holds?
Yes. What will we see?
Will we have toasters that can 3D print custom bread shapes, toasters that use lasers for ultra-precise browning,
Right.
or maybe toasters that can predict our breakfast moods and recommend the perfect toast topping?
Who knows? The possibilities are endless.
Let your imagination run wild and share your ideas with us. We can't wait to hear what you come up with.
Yes, we can't wait.
And until next time,
Happy toasting, everyone.
happy toasting.